it's not a magic pill or injection. It is simply an appetite suppressant, meaning it slows gastric emptying, which means how food moves through your stomach, so you get full on less food, full faster, you ultimately consume less calories. Here's one problem with that: nutrient deficiencies. There are things in the foods we eat that we want to absorb, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals. It can reduce the absorption of those positive micronutrients, but more importantly, you're just eating less food, probably choosing bad foods, just less of them, exacerbating the nutrition deficiencies. Now, it's not just about losing weight, right? It's about quality of the foods you eat, having the energy, the health markers we're looking for. All that comes from our nutrition, and that gets lost in this pursuit of weight loss. Number 2 is the quality of the weight loss. In studies, yes, participants lost as much as 15% of body weight over the course of a year, but a third of that weight was muscle, lean muscle mass that we obviously want to maintain for obvious reasons, aesthetics aside, how you look, but how you perform, how you grow old without breaking a hip. All that is super critical to have more muscle. So it's no different than any other crash diet. I don't think there's anything magical happening here that's creating the muscle loss beyond just eating too little and not strength training, not eating the right foods like we touched on already, the proteins, etc., that support muscle maintenance. Number 3 is, frankly, is cost prohibitive. In Canada, yes, you can pay out of pocket, and Ozempic's, $250-ish a month. Wegovy, which is the more weight loss driven compound, it's the exact same product, but it's easier to get if your goal is weight loss or you hit the parameters for the BMI chart. That's closer to $400 a month. In the US, it's over $1,000 a month. And unless you got deep pockets, what's shown in the research is these drugs only work when you take them. And you can be on it for a year, lose a bunch of weight, but you come off of it, chances are, at least according to what we have available in the data, you will gain back a good chunk of that weight. So my suggestion, again, is to exhaust your natural options. Unless you're morbidly obese and it's a life or death scenario, the pros and cons of taking something like this versus just getting a good routine down and nutritional habits in place is probably going to lean more towards the con side of things. Because let's go to number 4, which is serious side effects. If you look at the forms, Ozempic put me in the ER, this, that, the other thing, blockages, diarrhea, upset stomach, like extreme side effects. Now, those are isolated. I think the majority just fit into the category where they get a bit of stomach discomfort, some nausea, maybe they get really backed up to the point where they have to take enemas or over-the-counter fiber supplements to try to stay regular. Certainly those can't be discounted. That's not fun, any of that. But for the majority of people, it's tolerable. Now again, there's a difference between tolerable and whether or not it's worth it for you. For me personally, I did experiment with it because I have to practice what I preach. 2 days on this and I couldn't sleep. Insomnia, for whatever reason. High levels of GLP-1, which is the main natural peptide that's increased by these. That made my brain kind of hard to shut off. And I looked it up, and there is enough out there that people are getting insomnia from this. And they theorize that it's because it excites the orexin, a part of your brain, which is obviously linked to wakefulness. And that's not what you want at night. So not likely something you would experience, but a minority of people do get that, which obviously is not good. All right, so last but not least is the ongoing reality that you'll likely have to take this forever. And if you can't afford to keep taking it and you stop abruptly, you've now lost a third in muscle and you've lost a lot of weight. Metabolism is going to be compromised. That is that recipe for a major rebound. It happens the same with crash diets, where people lose a lot of weight, but they're not maintaining muscle or caring about that. They're only focused on the scale, and they end up rebounding bad, almost to a worse position. Because not all weight loss is created equal. So here's what I recommend you do, is implement these big 5 habits. If you can get semi-consistent with them, you're gonna get better results than a drug, okay? First one is just managing your calories and protein. You've got to track what you eat, because we humans are horrible at memory recall. We always think we're eating less than we really are. The research bears that out. So getting clarity on that, mitchcalvert.com/calculator, get your free numbers from me, sent over to you. Start with that, commit to tracking for 2 weeks. You'll see right away. 2 is drinking 3 liters plus of water per day, between 2 and 4 liters, depending on body size. That's gonna help, suppress that thirst, but also teach you the difference between hunger and thirst and being hydrated. And oftentimes we can snack a whole lot less when we're drinking enough water. 3 is steps, your walks. Tons of health benefits, but tons of benefit for fat loss as well. If you're hitting 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day, your NEAT goes up, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's gonna burn more calories than any pill on the market, okay? 4 is your sleep, making sure you prioritize that, because you know how you feel the day after you haven't slept properly. You're snackier, your willpower is lower, you move less. It's that cascade effect on all those good behaviors. So if you can get in bed for 8 hours, chances are you only sleep around 7 because you're up on pee and it takes you a bit of time to fall asleep. So get in bed with a commitment to be in bed for 8 hours before your wake time. Promise you you'll feel worlds better, but you also achieve more fat loss. And last but not least is the strength training piece. You gotta lift things up, put them down. There's so much benefit to this. You're gonna age more gracefully, you're gonna look more toned, you're gonna have an easier time losing fat, maintaining muscle. It doesn't take a whole lot. 3 times a week for 30 minutes. If you're just getting started, more than enough. If you want a strength training routine, drop me a message, right? So get those big 5s in place. I promise you the basics work best. There is a time and place for something like this. If you've tried it all, you're morbidly obese, and your system's haywire, you just can't control your appetite, then maybe using this it's gonna take time, for a long time. And hopefully you've got some systems and habits in place so that you can taper off eventually and really make it stick. All right, until next time.